If you told me that in a game with powerhouses like Steve, Sonic, Pikachu, Rob, and Game & Watch, that the meta would be shifting towards the favor of a certain slow Fire Emblem character, I would say you are crazy. But today, in November of 2023, and honestly the entirety of 2023, Corrin has seen a huge resurgence. The success of Neo's Corrin, Shattuck especially just winning Low Tide City, and many other Corrins across the world, what is making this character so popular? A lot of people wrote this character off, and then of course they got buffed, but even after the buffs they weren't doing fantastically well, but suddenly Corrin seems to be one of the most prevalent meta threats. So what happened? I want to talk about the meta, I want to talk about obviously the buffs that Corrin got, because we can really dive into what makes Corrin a threat. So first, let's look at what's going on in the meta. Of course, there are very strong characters in meta, most notably the top three being Steve, Sonic, and Game & Watch, piloted on the backs of Akola, Ken, and Sonic's, of course, Onin or Pocket with Steve as well, and then of course Mia's Game & Watch has been ridiculously consistent recently. So what do these characters have in common? Of course, they have solid game plans, right? Steve wants to build walls or rush you down, and therefore end up getting diamond or big percent with some edge guards. Of course, Steve is just like a myriad of options, so he's a little bit of a wild card, but one important thing is he needs people to try to approach him, and then he can get reversal minecarts and back airs. But of course, only if you have less range than him, and if you don't have the ability to swat out minecart, which is a damage threshold. Sonic again is a very game plan based character with an amazing advantage state, and honestly the main flaw of Sonic is just hoping that people don't keep him in disadvantage. Does he have great tools for getting at a disadvantage? Yeah, because you have Spring, you have homing attack, you have a frame 2 air dodge and one of the best directional air dodges in the game, but of course that is still susceptible if the opponent can be correct. And with Game & Watch, you just have a very strong advantage state, but a somewhat lackluster neutral, hoping that people run into forward airs or that they aren't ready for the approaching neutral airs. But once Game & Watch hits you, he hits you so hard. But again, similar to Sonic, even though probably a more extreme example, he doesn't have a great disadvantage, right? I mean, he's great at getting off the ledge, but he's not great at landing. And the main way he gets off the ledge is through ledge jump. So if people can keep Game & Watch in the air, that is going to be a good sign. Of course, even though those three are the main meta threats, there are still amazing characters in this game. You have strong combo characters, you have strong neutral characters. Honestly, it's mostly the strong combo characters nowadays, because why win neutral 6 times when you can hit someone twice and kill them? Like Mario, like Mii Brawler, like Fox, like Falco even. Of course, Rob and Peach are included in this as well. So why in a game of characters hitting you once and killing you, or very strong game plans, is Corrin succeeding? Well, first let's talk about the buffs, and then we can talk about the game plan of Corrin and why the Corrin players are winning besides being godlike, because, spoiler alert, they're all godlike. So in case you're unaware, Corrin is one of the most buffed characters in Smash Ultimate, literally only receiving buffs. You can pause to read, but essentially most of Corrin's moves got buffed over the course of this game between up air, neutral B, side B, up air, I think I said that already, but it's a big deal, back air, forward smash, the shield stun, the counter. So many of Corrin's moves have got buffed in a way to either combo better, do more damage, kill earlier, or be less punishable, which of course is a huge deal considering how bad people thought Corrin was at the beginning of this game. And even after all these buffs, the last patch being 8.0 in July 2nd of 2020, there was still much to be discovered because people weren't playing Corrin like that online, except for Cosmos, who started doing well and then decided to just play Aegis when they came out, because regardless of all the stuff, Aegis is still a better character than Corrin. So these buffs made Corrin a better combo character that did more damage, that killed earlier. Of course, in general, the auto-cancel window of up air being better, as well as just the increased kill potential of it, means that Corrin now had one of the scariest advantage states in the game, even with a slow character. But the one thing that kind of pushes it all over the edge is the ability for this character to punish the most common defensive option in the game, fast fall air dodge. Fast fall air dodge is kind of what a lot of people's disadvantage states are centered around. You're either going to fast fall air dodge or you're going to do an aerial, and that was like 99% of disadvantage states unless you have something special like multiple double jumps or something like a bouncing fish or a flip jump or a quick attack or something like that. If you don't have one of those, you're kind of just falling and hoping that someone doesn't hit you, because at the very beginning of the game, people were directional air dodging a lot and people got really good at sniffing it out, and fast fall air dodge at least is harder to punish frame data wise. Of course, this depends on character. Fast fallers are going to have a better fast fall air dodge because they will cover more distance, and it kind of changes the way you have to play advantage state. But with Corrin's huge moves that you can kind of frame trap people with them anyway, you up air and then they fast fall air dodge through it, and then you hit a landing nair into a combo, Corrin makes fast fall air dodge look like child's play, and especially you can get some very early kills, which I highlight a lot in the LY versus Fargo set, which is pin to cover fast fall air dodge. Of course, Corrin's tipper pin is going to be really, really strong, and being able to punish fast fall air dodge this effectively is one of the reasons that Corrin is seeing a lot of success right now. A lot of people have not adapted to the fact that Corrin is really strong at punishing this, and honestly is fairly strong at punishing directional air dodge, but at least that character is slow, so you can kind of gain some distance away from them. Because here's the thing, most time if people aren't going to try to fast fall air dodge onto the stage, they're going to go to ledge, but Corrin, of course, has an amazing back air that kills super early, so it's a little scary to go to ledge, and then even then, if you're going to go off stage entirely and then try to recover from below, Corrin has the strongest two-framing move in the game that's like applicable in side B. The amount of stocks you have seen get taken at 70%, 65%, especially when Corrin has rage, because of this side B is ridiculous. But ESAM, you might say, Corrin is slow, and I feel like so many of these characters want you to be fast, so that way you can play unreactable neutral. And while this is true, we can obviously now talk about one of the other most important things about Corrin, their range. While obviously speed is an inherently good statistic, right? It's why Mythra is better than Pyra, it's why Sonic is so good, it's why characters that are fast and similar to other characters like Mario is going to be better than Dr. Mario because of the speed of him. However, a lot of the fastest characters in this game don't have a ton of range or are a little bit less safe on shield. You know, Mythra is less safe on shield than Pyra is, for example, in all of their frame data, ignoring the fact that it's hard to react to Mythra moves, but again, special case, Mythra's broken. You know, other than Sonic's spins, he doesn't really have a ton of safe moves on shield, the best one being like neutral air at -5, which again is good, but it's not like he has incredibly safe moves all the time. And so this is where Corrin's range gets put into play. Of course, Corrin has many threatening moves. Rising forward air, rising up air, and rising nair are big moves that can cover a lot of space, so you can't just randomly jump into Corrin because they will have moves to swat you out. You can't stay grounded versus Corrin because if they go short hop, landing fair, that move is safe as hell. Literally, the least safe aerial is down air, of course, by Corrin at -21, but the next least safe move that Corrin has as an aerial is -9 with back air, the move that throws you away from them, so it's not actually unsafe. Because of the large range of all of Corrin's aerials, it is incredibly hard to whiff punish this character, and they have a pretty low short hop, so it's not like Zero Suit where you're going to like jump and then slowly fall where people can kind of dash in and hit Zero Suit for short hopping. Corrin's short hop is pretty low, and Nair will constantly cover below them, so if you are trying to approach a Corrin, you have to do so expertly, especially because they can just randomly do full hop pin, or double jump backwards pin, or again, Dragon Fang shot to like, you know, mess with your whiff punish timing. It is incredibly difficult to whiff punish this character unless you are either the super fast characters or have a special option, or of course are a zoner. Honestly, let's switch to that. I think zoners are very good in this current meta. Of course, a couple of them, right? You have Samus, which in my opinion is an incredibly strong character. You have Rob, which is like a zoner-esque character, so I'm going to include him here. And you have Steve. Well, how does Corrin fare against those characters? While I do think, inherently Samus may win the matchup, Steve may win the matchup, I don't think it is as bad as it could be, right? The thing about zoners is typically they're going to control neutral, but have a rather suspect disadvantage state. Rob, of course, can kind of overcome that with his amazing falling neutral air, but Corrin's up air is going to beat that straight out, and of course get kills pretty early. Again, the advantage state of Corrin is very strong. That's honestly going to be the main key for all of these matchups, is the fact that all of the zoners in this game, or most of them at least, have suspect disadvantage states, so Corrin is able to, when they get in, do a ton of true damage with the combo. I mean, landing forward airs at like 20% can lead to 70, and then will keep you in disadvantage, whether it's above you with up air, off stage with forward air or back air, or of course getting 2 frames with pin or otherwise ledge trapping you. Because of the strength of Corrin's advantage state, the main flaw of this character of, oh, sometimes they don't have the lead and it's difficult to get it back, is kind of non-existent, because you will hit your opponent once eventually, or you're getting outplayed, GG shake my hand, and then get a huge amount of damage and position. And again, Corrin of the relevant meta characters is probably the one with the overall best kill potential. Other than Diamond Steve, we're not counting that right now. Like honestly, I would say that Corrin has as much applicable kill potential as Kazuya, which is ridiculous to say. Not only, of course, do they have all of their aerials that I talked about kill, forward smash, which can do different ledge trapping type of things and break shields, but also they end up having a kill throw, so it's not even like Fox, where it's like, oh, he has a ton of good kill potential and combos, let me just hold shield. Like, no, you can't just hold shield versus Corrin. One, because they'll throw you into disadvantage state and then potentially get an up air or a back air or a 2-frame, but the up throw will literally kill you. Like, it's not the strongest kill throw in the world, it's not Mewtwo up throw, it's not Ness back throw, but it's a kill throw. So basically, Corrin ends up being a character that can cover their weaknesses really well, have a pretty decent recovery. I mean, they will get edge guarded by some characters, sometimes Pikachu, Meta Knight, Sonic, those type of characters, but it's really difficult to do so, and again, missing that edge guard, it's not even like, oh, you lose position. You're going to get hit by the up B, put into disadvantage state, where again, you might simply die if you aren't a character with amazing airspeed or a way to land immediately. And you can see all of this in all of the tournament play. They are consistently hitting neutral air dodges. They are doing a ton of percent. They are keeping people in disadvantage. And of course, the slight movement differences you can have. I mean, I know that I freaked out when Shattuck did some stuff at Let's Make Moves Miami with like the weird slingshot thing, like the micro dash into slingshot stuff. Like, this character can be very tricky, and facing forward or backward is going to be very different. And if you can kind of hide which way you're facing with your movement, this character's threat range is so scary. It's so threatening. It's literally a threat range for this character. Again, I don't think this character is without weaknesses. I don't think they're like a top 10 or 15 character, but it's one of those things that in tournament their weaknesses are inconsistent, whereas their strengths are very consistent. So yeah, Corrin might get blown up by specific characters or might run into a bad matchup like Snake, even though we definitely saw Neo beat Apollo Kage, so, fun stuff there. But in a game of advantage state, Corrin is the king or queen, depending on the costume you are playing, of advantage state. Corrin's advantage state is insane, so much damage. It's also a simple advantage state. It's not one that you really need to have super frame tight combos, like Nair to up air is decently easy, forward air to up air is decently easy. Of course you need to be aware of the character for the optimal combos, but sometimes you just need a 2-piece, get them back in disadvantage, because Corrin will keep you there. Absolutely. And yeah, that's going to be about it for this one. I hope you all enjoyed. I'm going to be doing a couple of more why these characters are relevant videos. Of course, Corrin, I think, is one of the most surprising picks for being very relevant in meta right now. So let me know down below who you want me to do these analysis about, because I honestly have fun analyzing these characters like this. And yeah, I will see you all next time.